Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I am back with an episode of Start Before You're Ready that I am so excited about. I am here with Evans. Evans, say your last name because I don't want to screw it up.
Armantrading. So it's like a man trading arms. Yep.
Okay, I had it and then I was like, oh, I'm going to say it wrong. I met Evans this spring at an SCW Fitness Conference, and I was blown away. And I'll tell you why. Because he was delivering this incredible stretch program that I'd never really seen anything like it. And in addition to that, he was running workshops, running sessions for trainers that were really unique. I wanted to go to all of them. After I went to one, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad. I want to go to all of them. But he's helping his clients. I mean, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he's also helping fitness business owners in a really unique way. And as a fitness business owner, I'm here to say that is needed. That is really needed. So I was just thrilled to have met him. We'll talk a little bit more how the connection continued. But before we do, I want to talk as little as possible because I want to know as much about this dude as possible because he's very impressive. So let's start by you introducing yourself.
Well, good afternoon or good morning, depending when you're listening to this. My name is Evans Armantrading, and I'm both the CEO of CNU Fit as well as CNU Stretch. So we live out here in Dover, Delaware, originally from New York and prior military. So prior Air Force, that is specifically.
I don't think I knew that you were prior Air Force. What part of New York?
Brooklyn.
The New York.
Yeah, New York City. Yeah.
I guess when you say just New York, I should assume it's the city. Okay. I'm from upstate New York. I don't know if I've told you that, but I have to always say upstate New York, Albany, Schenectady area, because that's, according to New Yorkers, not actually New York. Okay, so you were in the Air Force?
No, 6 years. So 6 years. So
that's a long career.
I did 6 years, deployed 3 times. So I got in right before 9/11 and September. Wow. Actually, February 2000, and then, of course, 9/11 happened the subsequent years, so I deployed, 3 times directly after that. And then in 2006, I decided, I just felt like there was more that I wanted to do without the limitations of what the government work provided. And so I stepped out, went into home sales initially. And I was selling manufactured and modular homes. I'm from the city, so we didn't even know what those things were. But we found out what single wide was pretty fast. And but I did that for about 2.5 years. And then 2008 was the big market crash. And at that point, I was already overweight. I struggled with my weight. I went into the military skinny, gained like a ton of weight. And then just did a lot of dieting, struggled with my weight. And then my mentor at the time, he said, Evans, use this time, the market crash, you got to work, use this time to get in shape. Didn't really like exercise, but I liked the idea of hanging out with him. His background was he was an OBGYN and then also specialized in age management medicine. So a lot of things that people are talking about today, these were like our basement conversations 16, 17 years ago. And so I was just like, hey, I got to be my mentor. This is great. And through the process, I lost like 42 pounds, got down to under 8% body fat. But what I got really excited about was understanding metabolism. So I started to teach people about everything I was learning. I would just teach them. I'd vet it through him and I'd teach them. People's lives start changing. And I thought I would just do that until I get a real job, And since launching the business, now we have 3 locations here in Delaware. And we've helped well over 3,500. If I was really counting, it's probably close to 4,000 people. We've helped lose well over 45,000 pounds. That's how I got into fitness, and we've been blessed. We've been able to do some really, really cool things, both revenue-wise. We're probably in the top, I would say conservatively, in the top 5% in the country. And what we're able to do as a boutique gym owner, which is really, really cool.
Amazing. I love that so much. Okay, I need to connect the dots. How did you go from losing 40 pounds in your friend's basement to owning 2 businesses, and what was the in-between?
Yeah, so the in-between, right? So I'm literally doing personal training. At first, it was just nutrition coaching sessions in my house. Everybody's measurements. I'm creating their meal plans for them and their macros. and all that kind of stuff. And then his name is Dr. Wilson. He was like, Evans, why don't you like rent out a room from my OBGYN office? One of the physicians were leaving. And I couldn't afford it. It was $600 a month. And I was like, I can't afford that. And he was like, just raise your rates. I was like, oh, it's that easy.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that was my first raise your rates campaign.
That's interesting.
Clients, and so we did. And it kept on seeming like the more we increased our prices, the more clients came. And we just sold out and figuring out how to solve the problems that people didn't have. So I was studying like blood work back then. We were having our clients get lab work done. We were doing all kinds of stuff just to help them be well.
Yeah.
And then
really
later,
ahead of your time in 2010, doing lab work.
We were super far ahead of the curve, even to the point where I stopped doing it still before it became a trend. And then I was able to, I'm literally training people in like he would do an exam, like I would try to plan my training sessions around when he was seeing patients. So patient leave out and I can do a quick 30-minute session. So imagine doing workout with bands in your GYN office, and that was me. And then,
okay, so you were physically training people, not just nutrition, in the OBGYN office.
Yeah.
And these are like my favorite stories in the world. I absolutely love that.
Like we move the exam table over because you got that big old table and you push it over to the side and we'll do like a mini workout in there and then we have to push it back because he's like, I need that room, kind of thing. And I was just grateful. I think gratitude is what really opened a lot of doors for us because, some people might have looked at the situation as like, dude, like you're paying rent. Why you got to give up a room? I was just grateful that I had a space to use. And a buddy of mine, he owned a gym in town, like a private studio. And he was like, Evans, you could sublease for me, and it was $600 again. So me and my buddy TJ, we subleased from him.
In New York City?
No, this is all in Delaware. This
is back. Oh, so the OBGYN, everything was in Delaware. You had left the city.
Is Delaware. I joined the military in 2000. The military brought me to Delaware. I'd lived like just over a year and a half in Florida prior. So I left New York, went to Florida. Florida joined the military. Military brought me to Delaware. And so that's what I was doing. And so this guy was like, hey, you can sublease the gym. And I was like, ooh, I can train people there and I could do nutrition coaching here. And so we were doing that for a little bit. And then I remember in the lease that you could put your logo up. So I put my logo on the door. And that night he called me and was like, hey, you put the logo on the door. And I'm like, isn't it amazing? I deliberately put my logo lower than his logo because it was his place. I'm a Christian, and in my church, my pastor used to always talk about leave a place better than you found it. So we'd clean up his gym. We would, if a lead was a walk-in, we always referred it to him because it was his space. I was just subleasing. But he was like, Evans, I'm not going to renew the lease. And so I remember during this whole whirlwind, right, I had lost my job in home sales, which was the highest earnings I've ever had. I went to unemployment. My wife had to go back to work, and I have 2 little kids. My daughter's 19, so she was 2 years old at the time. And my house went into foreclosure just because we didn't have any money. My credit got destroyed and everything else. And he's like, we're not renewing the lease. Well, it turned out that one of my clients actually owned like a shopping mall. She was like, you can sublease, from us. And we did. And it was just through the grace of God, like our clients like banded together. I had $240 something in my bank account. And they were like, no, we'll do the construction. We'll help with the painting. We'll do this. And I was just looking at pictures with my daughter the other day. I had like one set of dumbbells that was like from 5 pounds to like 35 pounds on the floor. That was it. And then we had the bands that we used. How you see like in a tractor trailer, they have those like E-tracks where like the rings are connected. We put that on the walls so the bands, and it would sub like a door jamb. So we're training people doing that. And I mean, my first treadmill was donated by a client. My first universal gym piece was donated by a client. It was just like everybody said, we'll give you our extra parts and put it together and let's make this thing work. And we were on a mission. We were fired up to help people. And then next year we grew again and we went to another location and we left from all the subleasing into our own. And then we just grew again from there. And our whole thing was like, we're just going to over deliver. We're going to just over deliver. We're just going to be excellent at what we do. We're going to serve people to the highest level and we're going to get paid on the back end. And for years, I didn't collect a lot of revenue. We didn't get paid a whole lot. We were passionate about helping people. By 2018, we had a client who he lost like 50, 60 pounds, but he was traveling about 30 minutes twice a week to come to us. And he kept on saying, Evans, you need to move to Milford. You got to go to Milford, which is a town like 30 minutes south of us. And I was like, I don't really know. And everybody was like, don't do it, but can't
They
tell.
don't want to lose you. Your clients are like, don't go to Milford.
Yeah.
They're afraid they're going to lose you.
So I was like, I can swing it. So we opened up the Milford location. And then the way we went into it was we were training people who owned the gym in Milford. So these guys, they weren't like fitness people. They were like entrepreneurs. They had a restaurant. They had the gym. And they were friends with Peter. And they were like, Pete, what you doing? He's like, I'm training these guys in Dover. So they brought us down to train them and stretch them in their gym. But it's your body, you want whoever you feel can confidently help you to the goal. So we partnered with them. We started subleasing from them. And then literally after our grand opening, he was like, I think I'm going to have to close the place. The numbers just don't work. So we had to find a place again. And one of our clients pointed us to a place. We're still in that facility now since 2018. And the business just incrementally started to grow. And then in 24, I reached a point where I was completely out of the gym. Like I don't train, I don't do stretch, I don't do consults. My wife was like, if you don't start something else, you're gonna like drive everybody crazy. So I started my third gym in 24 as a way to like scratch an itch and not be bored kind of thing. I'm always wondering if that was the right decision or not. But every time I go into the gym and people tell me their stories, like, okay, it was worth it just for you. Yeah, it's the people all the way. So we just opened a third location. Well, in between the whole time, we had this other revenue stream that was just growing like a weed in our gym. And for us, it was our norm. And it was stretch therapy. And the way stretch launched with us was back in 2014. We had this client that came in. Her name is Tammy. And actually, Tammy was a client since 2010. She was my accountant. Back in that time, everybody was sitting on Swiss balls trying to get their core right and get rid of back pain. And I was like, that's crazy. We just need to strengthen your core. Stability ball test at desk is not a good thing. Let's just strengthen your core. And she got out of pain. 2014, she walks in and she's just disheveled. Just looking at her, you can see like we should not push it as hard as we normally push it. So I was like, hey, let's just do a light week. I've done deload weeks in lifting. It'd be great. Help you reset your cortisol levels. You'll be feeling amazing next week. Next week she comes in, she still looks the same. And I was like, let's do a light week. I always say to people, like, if you have a hammer, everything's a nail, right? Like, let's do another light week. And she was like, Evans, I can't pay as much as I'm paying for light weeks. Now, what was happening on the back end was it was tax season. She was a CPA. She was leading the firm. Stress will just continue to crank until April 15th. And we're late February around this time. So she's like, can we just do the stretches that we do at the end of the workout for the workout? And so that's what we finish our workout. Normally we're at a chest day. We do chest stretches. Back day, we do back stretches kind of thing. So I was like, I guess I know how muscles work. I can kind of put something together. Every time I teach, I say, what I did to her, I would never do to somebody else. Like we've had pictures of what we used to do to clients. It was Chinese water torture. But other clients saw it and they were like, what is that? And I was like, facilitated stretching. And they're like, can you do that to me too? I was like, I guess. So then I went out this rabbit hole of getting a bunch of like corrective exercise certifications and stretching certifications and movement stuff and barbell rehab and just trying to understand like how does the body work and what's causing the problem and how could we solve the issue. And literally, the program was just growing a little bit at a time. And that's 2014, 2019. By 2019, I think we got up to like $7,400 a year. So we're not making a ton of money. We don't even advertise. It's barely on our website. And in 2019, one of our clients said, why don't you it's not really facilitated stretching that you're doing. Like nobody understands what that is. Like you helped me get out of my sciatica pain. You helped me my wrist issue. But she's like, you supported me through all those pains. It's more like a therapy. Why don't you just call it stretch therapy? I was like, hark, that's a really good idea. So then that's what we did. We called it stretch therapy and it grew. So 2019, 2020 was our largest year to date at that point. And we did 13,000 and some change in stretch. We had an intern from the local university. We always did interns. And I wanted to keep him along, but I didn't have enough training hours to like make this a career for him. So I was like, what if we did treated stretch like we teach training? Like, because before we treated it like massage. Nothing wrong with massage, but massage, you just kind of do one whenever you feel it. There's no programming around it. So I said, what if we take a process? And we did a consultation, right? And then we did assessments, and then we did a program recommendation. We facilitated that, and we reassessed along the journey. And so we started experimenting with how we can do that. And from 2020 to 2021, we did I think we did $44,000 in 2021 in Stretch. And I started looking at what didn't work, what did work, and we tweaked it a little bit, and we went from 44,000 to 154,000 the next year. Then I was like, that didn't work. This did work. Let's tweak it some more. And went from 154,000 to 244,000 in 23. February 2023, I'm in a mastermind talking with a group of business owners, and we're talking about what could you do to move the needle. Like, we're all doing nutrition, we're all selling subs, but what can we do to like really make some good money? And I was like, I'm just doing the same thing for the last forever years. And one of the guys like, no, Evans, you got to tell them about what you're doing with Stretch. So I was like, so I broke down the numbers, I showed them what they're doing. And like, they're all like, can you teach me how to do that? So I'm like, sure. I'm hyper analytical. So I started to write a book. And one of my friends, Latasha, she owns a couple gyms in California. She was like, Evans, nobody wants to read a book. They just want you to teach them how to do the thing. So she was there like, why don't you come over here in 2 weeks and teach my team how to do stretching? So literally me and Amanda, pretty much VP, and we sat down and we created what is our level 1 and level 2 over the course of 2 weeks. And we just built it out, practiced it multiple times, flew out there, certified her team, and then we've just been helping people since. Well, inside of the CNU Fit world, that year we grew from 246 to 245 to 246. So we only grew $1,000 in the year. Last year, just in our gym, not in our stretch business, in our gym, we were from 246. Last year, we did $458,000 in stretch revenue. Right now, we're on track to do over $500,000.
For one gym or for three?
For three. In the one, like our Dover location does about $27,000 a month in stretching by itself. And the other two are just small. So they make up the difference. But it's about $500,000 in stretch in the two gyms. And our total client count is 400 people. And that's including the stretch and the training clients, which is really exciting. But then since growing CNU Stretch, now so that's since February, we could say March, the first group. So since March of 24, we're now in 19 states and we certified a little over 235 people.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just love everything about that story. And you are very professional about what you do. And it stood out so much when I met you at the conference. You're kind of talking about it like in numbers, like it's like, but you're leaving out a lot about the systems that you've created, because I think that's what's really helping fitness business owners more than anything is I'm sure you got that from your time in the military, but you're very systems. You think in systems, and everything you do has a system, and the business part of it has a system, and the physicality part of it has a system. And that's the only way to scale the way you've done in such a short amount of time. I don't know what you've done between March and now, but when I saw you and I heard you speak, I was like, this guy's he's going to absolutely kill it. And then of course I started following you and I'm like, he's in Montana, he's in California, I'm like, he is killing it. I knew it. I told you. So our connection is Meg. So Meg and I were both being stretched. What was her name? I was trying to think about right before. She was amazing. I loved her. She was like my new best friend, and she was stretching me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I want this. I want someone here to do this. And it's not me. I don't see myself doing it. And Meg was like, I'll do it. I'm like, oh God, no, Meg, you don't need another job. You don't need another certificate. No. And then you threw in the table. And so she signed up for it. And I was like, Meg, when are you going to do this? And it was like, the certification is a big commitment. It's not like she had to do a lot of coursework before. And I'm sure you know her mom. Her mom was ill during that time and the timing was terrible. But as soon as she's like, Kelly, she's like, will you sub my classes? I'm going to Delaware for 2 days. I'm like, what? And she went and she just raved about the training. And she's been to mastermind retreats with me. She's been to fitness conferences, and she's like, Kelly, we were so efficient. She's like, you know how normally they let you out at like 4? She's like, no, we worked till like 7, and then we were back in there at 7, and there was like, you worked through lunch. She's like, she was just blown away by how much she learned. And she felt so prepared after being with you for those 2 days. She really did. I mean, I don't think she thought she was going to feel as confident as she did. So of course, me being the smart person that I am, was like, I was like, well, you better practice right away, Meg, because if you don't, you're going to forget it. So I went right over there to be stretched by her. And I was like blown away by how good she was. The stretches were amazing. And they were way more advanced than, because I do go to the stretch zone. We have a stretch zone here, and I haven't been, but I was going pretty regularly and really appreciating it. I just value being stretched. I value massage. I value all those things because my body is so important to me for longevity, and I know the importance of it. But I was like, Meg, this is next level. The stretches that you learned are next level. So just shout out to you for that. And so tell us, I mean, how, like, when you thought to bring this to other gyms, like, how did you start that process? How did that work?
I mean, I started with myself, right? Because unlike any of the stretch therapy certification that I know of, at least, and I do a good job at searching them out, this is the only one started by a gym owner. So there are some uniquenesses within our ecosystem that I'm not going to list any others, but some of them, they only do stretch. So I was thinking, I mean, everything we do begins, and if it doesn't begin here, I'm not sure if you're in the right industry. In our industry, it has to begin with the client. So if you're like, hey, I could do this, and we've seen other people try to come into fitness for the money first, and they always phase out. You know, Nike just actually tried that, and they opened up gyms, and they realized, oh, well, I don't think we can do it. It has to be client-centered. So I'll walk a little bit through this client journey and show you how it fits into the gym. So we started doing what I call mechanical stretches. Hamstring stretch, you just push the leg, or tricep stretch, you just squeeze back. And that worked to a certain point. We were just stretching the muscles. And then we realized there were people that were trying to stretch and they couldn't feel the stretch the way we wanted them to feel. And so we started to learn about fascia and realized fascia can both accelerate movement or restrict movement. And for many of us, it's a restricting component. So we were like, oh, let's break up the fascia. Let's stretch out the fascia. And the first time we did that, it was very aggressive because that was the techniques that were taught at the time. It was take a kettlebell, take a lacrosse ball. Let's do this, like, dig into it and break it up. And we did all those things, and that worked. And people can feel the stretch, and they were feeling better until we ran into another problem. And the problem this time was our fibromyalgia and our rheumatoid arthritis, and people who are already experiencing high levels of inflammation in their body due to chronic challenges. Even the things you shared in the past about what's happening to you and what you deal with in your body, someone who comes to your body very aggressively, it doesn't serve you well. So we said, let's figure something out. And it happened because I stretched this client. I was doing traction. I was doing some things. It was a little aggressive, but it was what I did with everybody else. And 2 days later, I remember on the phone with her, and she's like, I hate you. I couldn't walk for 2 days. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, my body was inflamed, my fibromyalgia. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. And so I started looking into it. And you have to be gentle to the nervous system. See, muscles move bones through joints, right? The fascia can restrict or accelerate movement, but the nervous system is what innovates the whole game. You see a stroke patient, right? Their elbow doesn't move. That's not muscular. That's not fascia. It's not even arthrokinetic. It's not a joint function. It's the nervous system. So we said, what if we were gentle to the nervous system and it created permission for movement? So we did that, and we started seeing people getting great results. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And we just tied those things together to be able to do it. So then I'm like, man, there's a lot of content to teach people. But I'm a gym owner. What does that mean? Our monthly EFT or recurring revenue is session-based, meaning I can't shut my gym down for 5 days to learn a stretch technique. Like, it just doesn't work. Over the years, I mean, I had to build into my systems vacations. Because if you're a gym owner, right, the first couple of years, you just take no days off. Your clients can go for a little bit, let you go away. There was a little challenge. So I'm like, how could we do this? So we said if we systematically worked through the body a certain way, we can almost compound, almost like a superset, the stretches in a way that people can learn it, because after A comes B. Now, in real life, they won't put B always after A, but to learn it, they'll just put one right after the other, and it made it easy for people to go, oh, that kind of makes sense that that's the next thing to do. So we took a 5-day course and we truncated it into 2 days. So what does that mean? Day one, I think we have 2 5-minute breaks and you get lunch. That's it. And we start at like 8 or 7:45 and we go to like 5. And then you have homework, and the homework is you have to stretch somebody for 25 minutes for homework. And then day 2, we come back and we teach them another. Day 1, they learn 35 stretches. And day 2, they learn another 30 stretches. Now, we said we have to teach them this amount of stretches because I've done other stretch certs, and I've done a lower body stretch cert. Like, how's that serving my clients? Because if you have an upper body issue, I'm just going to I could pull your leg. Yeah. But I've done them before because I didn't know any better. Or I've done somebody's level 1 and it only has 15 to 20 stretches in there, but if my clients need more. So instead of just banging people for more money, I just wanted them to be able to truly solve the problems. And so we structured hey, if 85% of your issues come up, you can kind of work really well in this space and feel confident. So we did that. And then we said, well, if you can't sell it, you can't get paid. So we did an entire sales course during lunch on day 2. We provide all the lunch. If you come to us, if we go to a gym, we ask them to provide the lunch. And we just feed everybody for lunch. And we teach them how to do sales. We give them our PowerPoint slides so they don't have to make it up. They literally use the exact same slides that we use in our system. Because as a gym owner, right, for it to work, we got to have some revenue come in. So we teach the consultation process. The last piece that we add, which is very unique, we're the only ones in the industry to do it. We provide this ability to build confidence. So how do we do that? I'll tell you a quick story and I'll get to it. 2013, I decided I'm going to get a kettlebell certification. I go there, it's 100 and something of us. We're swinging kettlebells, we're cueing each other. It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's old school. I miss that.
Well, yeah, it sure is, right? And then I go to tell my clients how to do a hinge pattern, and they have no clue what hinging is. Right? They don't have kinesthetic awareness. They don't have all these things. My confidence dive bombs. I'm a naturally confident dude, so I figure it out and I work through it. But I remember that feeling, and I said, So I talked to a good buddy of mine. He has a stretch certification course, and I said, hey, Chris, what percentage of your people you certify actually stretch people? Do a good amount of stretching. He was like, Evans, maybe 20%. And I was like, well, I don't want to certify people. Only 20% actually do the thing. And I started thinking, why did only 20%? Well, the reason why is because everybody in the kettlebell class had kinesthetic awareness, but in real life, Miss Mary doesn't have it. So I said, what if I brought Miss Mary into the cert? So we decided to bring our clients into the cert, real people with real issues that you haven't touched all weekend. And now you have to prove to yourself and to me that you can do the thing that I just taught you to do over the last 2 days. And so you leave both confident and competent, right? And you have to stretch them for 50 minutes. This is not like a quick 5-minute deal. You have to stretch them for 50 minutes. And we just supervise. We had a little touches here and there. We're looking for certain things throughout the stretch to make sure you got good touch down and you have certain things down in there. And our clients, we serve the 40 plus population. So in the class Meg was in, there were people who I had a stroke and I came out of physical therapy and I couldn't lift my arm this far. And I got this knee, shoulder, back issues, real life things. And I'm like, well, stretch them. And they kill it. They do so well. But, those are the things we looked at from a systematic perspective. How do we teach this thing in a concise level? And how do we give the owners a deliverable? Because there's very few things that I can invest in as an owner that I can point 1-to-1 ROI. Our level 1-2 certification is $1,500. Literally 15 stretch sessions or 15 hours of stretching pays the bill. That's 5 hours a week for 3 weeks, and it's just paid for itself.
No, I love that. And that is what really stood out to me, is that you were going beyond just teaching them how to do it. It's how to incorporate this into your business. And I think it was so natural for you because that's what you had done. You were a trainer that you used stretch as part of your arsenal, and you saw how you could keep clients that way, your accountant might have taken a couple months off because she just couldn't handle working out with you during that stressful time, but instead you kept the connection. And I mean, the real beauty of it all, Evans, is what that probably did for her, not only physically, but mentally. It's like, okay, I'm in a terrible time where I'm so stressed. Somebody's taking care of me. Someone's got their hands on me. Somebody is pouring into me. People need to feel loved and cared about. You mentioned your faith. You mentioned just wanting to do the right thing, leave something better than you came. I mean, that is what the world needs more of. I believe so much in all therapies. I'm a huge believer in the people who say, oh, I can't afford whatever it is an hour to be stretched or to get a massage or to get a trainer. I'm like, you spend money on the stupidest stuff that is not going to bring you value in 20 years. You invest in your body, you got that body forever. That's you can't buy another one. You can't. There's no store. So you're so preaching to the choir with what you do. And I believe in stretch, and it's hard, even as a fitness professional. I joke with people. I'm like, I feel like I'm just really learning how to stretch my body properly. And I was an athlete and a fitness professional, but until you believe it, until you start to really know, like in your heart, that this is the difference maker for someone in my age bracket. You know, I've lost a lot of speed, I've lost a lot of power, but I've gained strength and I've gained flexibility. So I'm still in the game, right? Like no one's taking me out of the game. As soon as I lose my strength and my mobility, I'm out, right? So I just love what you're doing. I want to ask you, when you were talking about it before, so you mentioned my clients. I know if my community that's listening is going to be like, how do you help people lose all the weight? What was so were you a little bit old school then? Were you like a chicken and broccoli guy with your macros? Or
No,
okay,
never.
Talk about that.
I did like macros. You know, I think macros provides a scale of freedom. Some people think it's restricting, but I think it provides freedom. I think all nutrition, it starts very simply, right? Your body, you know, how it speaks about nutrition is really simple. What happens up here about nutrition is really complicated in your brain. So what I mean by that is your body needs a certain amount of protein. And protein is the one thing that you don't store so you can like live on yesterday's protein, right? So you need protein every single day, at least 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. So you need protein in there, right? You need to give your body some whole foods, like real food, like things that got cooked, not just microwaved, you know? And so we need real food. I'm not saying don't eat out of a can every once in a while, but more than not, eat things that are like nutritious, that are colorful, that taste really good. Right. So you give yourself good food. Of course, you need vegetables and all that. You need to hydrate. Right. But to also lose weight loss is complicated, right? So you need to sleep very well. You need a good quality multivitamin. You need to have ways to de-stress yourselves. But I think the big battle and where we won it for people was in their brains. Meaning, if you say I am overweight trying to lose weight, then your brain always keeps an image of you being overweight as someone who's trying to lose weight. So I learned this from studying behavior change when it came to smokers. And if you said, I'm trying to quit smoking, then you will always smoke. If you said, I don't smoke anymore, then you actually can quit smoking. So a part of the name of seeing you is actually, I can see you. And I believe sometimes one of my coaches said this. He said, you may not believe in yourself right now, but believe in me until you can believe in you. And so I said, I can be the fruit, the example that you can follow. And if I'm telling you you can do it, that means you have the capacity to do it. And we believe that people can be well. And so we spend a lot of time in our coaching sessions. I mean, we have people doing affirmations in their coaching sessions because we were like, hey, I am valuable because I'm worthy. We have people speaking life into themselves. And when you put so much stock in who you are as a human being, you don't want to mishandle that. Now, yes, you may be experiencing some challenges around I want to do that. You may experience some food noise here and there, but then we create an ecosystem and a support system for you, and then it just becomes a part of your culture. The last thing that we do, I think, is really, really critical. It's not about just a bunch of hugs and kisses. We hold you accountable. Like, this is what you said you're going to do. And some of our clients, they were like,
Yep.
they used to tell me early years, like they'd go to a fast food restaurant and look at the menu and see my face and then walk out. Well, like, I got to see Evans
You want your
tomorrow.
voice in their ear
Yeah.
when you're not with them. That's great coaching.
So, but yeah, I think if you can just teach people to believe in themselves and that they're worthy of it and help them like reframe the language that they're talking about, why those triggers are those triggers, then you can help people win big time. The nutrition is not about like intermittent versus this and this, that's more like garbage.
I know. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Whatever you do, can you do it for the rest of your life?
Yeah. That's exactly right, Evans. When someone always says, and I'm sure you get this too, hey, Kelly, what do you think about, and then keto, I'm like, are you going to do it forever? No, I'm just going to do it to lose the weight. And then no, why don't we figure out, why give up really good stuff to do something that is going to be very limiting and it's going to move you back? I say my biggest, I need to figure out a better way to say it, but I always say it's going to move your health in the wrong direction. I'm like, any of those fad diets is going to move you back, and it's not worth your time. But it's challenging because people are desperate and they need help, and they need real coaching, and they need people like you that holistically look at them as a human being and not like trying to sell them this program. It's like, I want to help you from the inside out. And that's the only way to get real change. And I think both of us have been doing this for long enough to know that there's no secret. If there's a secret sauce, we'd be selling it, right? Like it's not available. Well, maybe there is now, but we're not selling it.
And I'm about supporting people along their journey, because I realized that even though like fat loss was a big thing for a large part of our career, I don't really believe that the trainer themselves are best suited to solve that problem. There's a lot of things that deal with metabolism. There's a lot of things. But you know what we can do? We can put muscle on you. And I think being strong is the new sexy. I listen to these people, because at some point, yes, you're like, hey, I want to fit this dress. I want to look nice on the beach. I want to do this. But as we age, man, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. I want to be able to get up off the floor. I want to be able to do life on my terms. And the idea of increasing my play span and my, health span, is critical. And I think we can try to fight the storm that's happening in some areas that have moved in, and they've actually exceeded what we've been able to do for decades in the fitness realm. Or we can like get in a boat and just paddle. We can be like, okay, cool. How can I support you while you do all these things? Because nothing that's coming out is going to target tissue growth.
Yeah, no, we cannot be replaced. Even more important now. I totally agree. And I do hear I hear what you're saying, because I'm experiencing it with some of my clients. And these are people that have been working out with me for 15 years. They're trying. They're doing everything. They're strong as anything. Big people are so strong. They're so strong. They've got a ton of muscle. They're just getting some of the fat off now. And now the world is their playground. I'm all for it. I'm not
anti-peptides or any of that in any stretch of the imagination. I just want to support my clients as they're going through those journeys, because all the research, so it doesn't matter what the thing is. When you experience rapid weight loss, you lose muscle unless you're deliberately tracking it and doing something to prevent muscle loss. And so we've been blessed to be able to help a ton of people lose weight, and even the people that are on. Like my daughter, she works for me, and she's just really big into this case studies, space right now. So we have clients who are on GLPs and doing all these kind of things, and we're tracking their muscle. And some of them with our nutrition coaching and on the GLPs and strength training is putting on muscle while losing weight. Like it's a win.
It is, and it's.
So I'm like, game on.
Yeah, I know, and we're at the forefront of that. I mean, we're so lucky to have had some. I mean, I'm very much into body composition. It's what I've always coached and encouraged for everyone. It's not about losing weight. It's about keeping or gaining muscle. And I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing now I don't think I'd see this from the general population, but for my clients, I am seeing them lose 10, 15 and not lose any muscle. And I'm afraid they're going to lose more and then start, but they also have a little bit of cushion. They can lose a little bit. They're not going to not lose any, and they'll get upset if they do. They're like, "Oh, I lost 3 pounds." I'm like, but you lost 20 pounds. Of course, your skeletal muscle mass is going to go down a couple pounds. It's you're winning. As long as we see that body fat going down, we're winning. So
I like it to you and how you're training and coaching them through that gear. And it's something to, I think, stand on the mountaintops and praise, because if you weren't programming right, they'd be losing 40% muscle like the research says, and it only hurts them a long time. And the more they age, the harder it is to get that 40% back.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, this has been really, really fun to talk to you. I can't wait to see you at Perform Better. So Evans he's about to go on a big trip. I don't know if this will come out next week or the week after, but he is celebrating his 25th wedding anniversary. We were talking offline. He's got this amazing trip planned for his wife to Greece. He made a website with a whole itinerary. I would say I'm really jealous, but I had my husband was pretty amazing and did something very similar for our 25th. And I love that you said that you guys have never done anything like this. And I know a lot of the kids now, like even my kids, they go on these like crazy trips. I'm like, okay, it took me 25 years of marriage to get this trip, but I think we probably appreciate it a little bit more. But I love that you're going on that. And then are you doing a seminar at Perform Better?
No, my goal, I talked to Chris about it. I was like, dude, I need to speak next year because, you know, just at the booth alone, like, and I'm blessed that you're able to see the SCW side versus the Perform Better. But we get way more engagement at SCW because we're actually teaching. We're able to teach these things versus people who see the booth, they don't really understand any of the conversation.
I'll be sending people your way. Don't worry. I'm the best salesperson when it's somebody else's stuff, not my own stuff. But I will be selling your stretch the entire time I'm there. I already told Todd about you. Matt Espew's out there. He owns Providence Fit Body Boot Camp. I know a couple of I think Amber's speaking. Don't worry. You're going to do well there. But I'm sure, as soon as they experience you, you'll be speaking there next year for sure. I've never been to Perform Better, actually. I've never been there as a student. No, it's always been like when my kids go back to school. It is still, but finally now I only have one going back to school, and we've kind of worked around it. But yeah, I'm excited to go, and I'm going to introduce you to Todd, who is a great person to know. You will. I think you know him, right? You know Todd.
Yeah, I don't know him, but I don't know him. Like I've seen him walk by. I know he gets everybody riled up.
He's a mind right maniac, but he's got a lot of sides to him. That's just one of many sides. He actually was a body worker. That's how he got started. He's actually in Ohio this weekend because Drew Brees was one of his clients, and Drew's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he's one of his best friends. So he's been around the block a few times too, and worked with a lot of average people and athletes. You guys are cut from the same cloth. You would definitely appreciate each other. Anyway, this has been so fun. I'm very grateful for your time today, and I'm grateful that you have been a mentor for our little Meg. And we at Energy, Meg is going to kill me, but we are a certified stretch center. We're on the map. Yes. Meg has put us on the map. So I'm super excited about it. And now I've got the secret sauce to get the bed warm so we can do it at the studio, because Meg's husband will kill her if she does it at her home. So that is not going to work out. I can tell you right now. So it's either going to be my house or the studio. But yeah, we will figure it all out. But thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing so much. I think your story is so inspirational to so many. A lot of people find their way into fitness from different backgrounds, and it's all about heart, and it's all about passion, and just a desire to learn. And that's one really cool thing about our industry is we are always learning. We're always going to conferences, certifications. It's what we love. So it's not like even a job. It's so fun. So I love that you're teaching other people and being such an incredible person in the fitness industry. I have a feeling I'm going to be like someday when I'm going to be like, Evans was on my podcast once, because I have a feeling you're going to be blowing up, buddy. You already are, but you're just getting started. So enjoy your vacation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And if I can be a blessing, don't hesitate to reach out anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.